Hello, friends. Many times when I'm conducting a session, I have asked people to list what they're grateful for. And because they are going through a certain problem at that time in their life, be it a personal problem, something related to a work issue, relationship issue, and they're themselves feeling sad. So it has happened that there was nothing that they could come up with. But I've always offered them this, that looking at our body and all the things that it keeps on doing, we can definitely draw so many points for which we could be grateful for. And they've always agreed. So it's interesting how we take for granted and lose sight of our body, which is constantly there, which is the instrument with which we exist in the world. We do whatever that we want to do. We experience so much. But whatever is going right, we fail to take notice of that. If there is a part of our body which hurts, if there is a sickness which has come on us, we quickly notice it. So many a times we have this narrow focus by which we just focus on the problem that we have, even if it is about the body, and we forget the larger picture of what is going right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about human body today. I feel almost all of us, we have studied biology when we were kids and we went to school. But even for me, I can say that experience, how the books are designed, was so disconnected from me that when I was studying the digestive system, somewhere it didn't seem to be about me. It seemed to be like, oh, yes, this happens, and I have to learn it, and I must remember it because I have to write that in the exam. And that was the importance of it. But I still had my share of fascination with it, though there was a disconnection. That's how I continued taking medical in my +1 and +2 and going on to do my MBBS. So, of course, that fascination was there for the human body. But the academics they lack so much in that they do not bring in that connection that this is our body that we are talking about. And I feel a basic knowledge of what is happening in the body is so very essential for us to appreciate the marvel that our body is and to understand that how we can take a basic care of our body. So in this segment, I'm going to share a little bit about the functioning of the body, some interesting things I'll share, and at the end, I will share basic tips about what are the healthy practices so that we can have a healthy body. So, if one of the really interesting facts is that we start our journey as one cell, like we are microscopic when we start our life. Now we have the bodies which are like so big. We are this tall, somebody is 5 feet tall, somebody is 6 feet tall. But imagine that we have started as a cell which could be like smaller than the dot that we can put on a paper, is that small. And then the cells divide and many, many more cells are formed. And look at the intelligence which would be driving this, that how some of the cells will differentiate to form maybe which we call tissue, group of cell which is tissue, and group of tissue which is called a organ, right? And then there's the organ system. So in very simplistic ways, how does like this one cell and forming a group of cells which will form a stomach, how did this other cell decide that it's going to form a heart? How did they decide I'm going to be the brain? So some intelligence must be driving this, and how it all differentiates and comes together. And it's so interesting, the kind of harmony and the kind of the way the different organ systems work together in our body. Again, in schools, when we study digestive system separately, we'll study the nervous system separately. It's all very, very separate. It just gives the impression that they exist in isolation, whereas our body is so interconnected. All of it comes together to function in harmony. There are rhythms in our body. Our body responds to what is the daylight, and there would be chemical fluctuation inside in response to that. If there is a particular time that we eat in, the enzymes are going to be starting to be secreted inside our stomach. The stomach will start moving in anticipation of the food, that I'm ready to digest the food. So our body works in harmony. The hearts continue to be a beat. We continue to breathe. The oxygen goes in. The food is broken down. The energy is produced. The waste is excreted. It's amazing how much is happening inside our body. We have capacity to function, to protect ourselves from any outside infective agent which can harm us. We can mount that immune response. Our body is amazing in many, many aspects. Our body gains information from the outside through the senses, through the five senses, the eyes, the hearing, the touch. And that information is converted to the brain, and which processes it. And the brain is like the CPU of the body, and it's sending information to the entire body through the chemicals that are circulating. Everything is interconnected. So all of it is taking place like an automation. So I don't have to tell my body that, okay, please, I'm eating, digest the food. Oh, yes, you know what? The heart, please, are you beating properly? Please continue beating. It's just taking place on our own. So if we think about our role, so when you're listening, your mind is absorbing what I'm saying, right? So the mind is governing the body. How the mind is governing? Because of the habits that the mind will form. So with the senses, and we might feel like, for example, let's take the food habits. We might feel, I want to eat this, I want to eat that. All of that is going in, right? And we might eat more than that we need to. I might need just this much energy, but I am eating so much. Now my body doesn't need that much energy. So it's gonna be stored as fat then, right? And then that would be added burden on the body. It will be a burden on the heart, it will be a burden on the other organs, and then there would be diseases which are going to happen. The arteries which are running in our body, there might be fat depositions there, and then the blood flow becomes difficult, and the added impact of that, and that's where the disease happens. So our food habits, our eating habits would have a direct impact on our body. That is one area which we have to be aware on, and which is something that we can understand more and work on. The kind of food that we eat. If it is more of the processed food, the burgers, the pizzas, the chips, the cold drinks, then again, it's difficult for the body to digest it. We are putting strain on our body, and the chemicals which are produced after these things are digested, they're also again very harmful to the body, right? Then third is, what are the timings in which we are eating? So if we are eating frequently through the day, so there would be constant pressure on the digestive system to keep processing the food, and it is coming at odd times, right? And that again creates a difficulty. See, again, the eating habits and the mind, see, because everything is interconnected. Nothing is in isolation. So the eating habits are also connected to the mind. Why we are eating at odd hours or too much or a particular kind of food is completely connected to the emotions that we are feeling, the thoughts that we are thinking. So if you're overeating, it's not simply about just realizing it and dropping it, looking into it. What was happening when I wanted to eat more? Was I feeling stressed? Was I feeling angry? Was I feeling scared? To see that emotion, so awareness is an important exercise which can help us to change our eating habits, then to work on those emotions, whether you would need to do a deeper work with somebody who can guide you, or you can work with awareness, meditative practices. So, understanding that as we are thinking negatively, as we are processing what is happening outside negatively, we are going to have negative emotions inside, and we are going to feel the urge to eat more than that we need to. So, mind and emotions are completely connected to eating habits, and they have an impact directly on the body. Apart from that, even the emotions and the thoughts that we are thinking would lead to certain chemicals circulating inside our body that would impair the wear and tear mechanism, the repair mechanism. It would cause more wear and tear and impair the repair mechanism. They might impair the immune system. So, the stress that something is happening outside, and stress is how we are processing it. We are processing it in a way that this is bad and this shouldn't happen, right? And that depends upon the attitudes that we have formed. So, that stress, and when it continues for a long time, also damages the body. Okay, and the what else impacts our body is the habits that we have. So if we have habits which have, maybe we have a habit of doing some physical exercise, or we're going for a walk, or we are going for a jog, again that is extremely supportive to the body. But if we become too sedentary, it's like what we call in terms of Ayurveda, the tamasic qualities built inside the body, and again it's detrimental to the body. So again, the habits are also in our hand. So what I'd suggest is that observing oneself, seeing that how much you can even journal it, how much am I eating and what am I eating, observing what was happening before that, right? Taking out time to at least half an hour every day to go for a walk, to go for a jog. Eating healthy not only involves eating home cooked food, but also where we are sourcing our vegetables, where we are sourcing our grains from. So if they are pesticide laden food, and again it's very harmful to the body. So trying to source organic food, and if you can get from somebody who's growing it with love, so supporting your local farmers who are growing organic food, who are growing with love, taking from them, and food is what your body is made of, and then eating that with love, eating that with gratitude. So these are like some of the practices. You can even grow your own food and like prepare it with love and eat it in silence in a beautiful space. And that's again very supportive of the body. Meditative practices, sitting in meditation for at least 15-20 minutes a day is again very, very supportive for the body, because it will lead to calming of the mind. You'll be thinking fewer thoughts and better thoughts, and that would lead to positive chemicals circulating inside, and that would lead to a healthier you. So I hope this video was helpful, and very helpful to especially your bodies, and wishing you good health always. Thank you.